Folks, welcome back to MAYPOLE Farm. I forgot to introduce you last time to our newest addition to the farm. We have Andog. We only have Andog at the moment, and you know how it starts. You start with Andog and you end up with many dogs, which is entirely a possibility. But yeah, I fed the cows some TMR last night. They have consumed pretty much all of that, which is a bit of a faff because probably means we need to feed them again. I might throw in a holding bale for now. We'll see. We are now 0 months away from offspring, so if we go in and check, I think this is cowshed 1. So if we go check cowshed 1 and scroll down, I guess we've got a couple that are due fairly imminently. 95% on the old reproduction, which is pretty awesome. Their productivity is up at 100%, which is great. I wonder if that's the girls that are laying down. Probably not. But what we are going to do today, so I said in the last video, as I finished planting the carrots, that I was going to check on the corn. And I did, but I did it afterwards. So we go check on the corn. You can see that the corn is at growth state 4 of 7. So one more growth state will allow us to forage that. So it looks like we'll be able to chop that in August. Maybe? Question mark. I don't remember. I don't think there's a penalty for chopping it at its earliest state. There might be. But there's also a benefit in that we can get the cover crop in August, which means we can get it growing earlier. Speaking of the cover crop, which will be grass, so I'm going to stand in the bit that's the least grown just so we can talk about growth states, because I hate the fact that giants have them all green and there's no subtle variation. You know, when your grass is a bit grown at home and you leave it a bit too long, you start to get little flowers and stuff in it, and you can see you've left it too long and it's grown a bit too much. So the stuff that we cut most recently is in growth state 2 now and is growing. This stuff is growth state 3, ready to harvest. A lot of the field is in growth state 4 and needs to be mown. So we have actually quite a lot of the field that needs to be cut today and turned into something. Probably mown grass would be a good start. So all of that. What I'm thinking we do, let's just tab to the tractor. Realism is key, folks. We've got about 30,000 litres of silage left. That's enough, give or take, for about, depending on how we mix it, about 5 loads are in the mixer, which is about 2.5 days, which is not very much. We've got a decent amount of hay stacked up. To be fair, I'm using, how big are these bales? They're 6,000 litres. So probably using like 3 bales of hay a day as well. But we're not too badly off for hay. So for all of that waffling, I'm thinking, I know, I do think occasionally, that we chop the grass and bale it and wrap it for silage. We've got everything we need to do that, apart from a windrower. Oh, we've got a windrower even. Awesome. Look at me, all organised. So we'll be doing square bale silage. Nice. Where are all my mowers? Good question. Well asked. I think we actually returned the loading wagon, so which is fine because we've not got any real use for it now. We're back to feeding, which is kind of glad that I remembered. Good that I remembered, because I was thinking, do we save some grass for indirect grazing? But now we've got baby beefs on the way. We do want to be feeding TMR all the time. So yeah. So we want to cut everything that's left everything that we can. Silage, some of it, but not all of it, because we will be getting the maize silage. But equally we'll get another cut off of this to make hay, so maybe we do just silage it and then we make autumn hay, because you know that's how reality works. So I think we just set up GPS and just cut as much as we can, is my thought. Essentially reset the field, because we're not doing the indirect grazing anymore. Get the field all back to a standard growth state. Try and stop saying and then we'll be able to progress from there. Feels like a good idea to me. That gives us a 9 or 10.5 meter headland. That probably works. I can probably manage cruise control myself on this one, but we are going to do the first headland right in the hedgerow. Get as much as we can off of here, and let's rock and indeed roll. So at some point, getting a bigger tractor and bigger mowers will be worthwhile, because we do quite a lot of grass work. But for now, we'll stick with what we've got. Equally, getting a bigger tractor is going to be useful for the carrot plan. If I'd be, I want to say more organised, but actually less tired this week, I am going to do a video on the triple crop rotation that I was talking about in the last video, because I think that's going to be interesting just to look at on its own and do a little bit of an analysis of, to see how viable it is. Does it work? Can we get oats, carrots and half a cut of grass off of it? Thinking the theory works, and having chatted about it, the theory still seems to hold. How profitable is it compared to doing some more standard things? How time consuming is it? And yes, I will be using modded carrot harvesters. Not sure which one yet. One of my favorite root crop harvesters exists in FS25. If you know, you know. If you don't know, you maybe see it in the future when these are grown in. And depends how crazy we go on the modded carrot harvester. But yeah, so I think from a carrot harvesting point of view, I will use a modded carrot harvester to do the testing. There's plenty on mod. There's these two on mod hub, so I don't think that's particularly bad to look at doing. And otherwise, the process is kind of painful, I think. And we'll be looking at probably the kind of income per hectare that you can make, and the amount of time per hectare using sensible size kit. Obviously you can't account for everyone's choice of kit. Someone might use redonkulously big kit, some people might use tiny kit. I'll try and pick kit which is a sensible size for a moderate size field. So I'll do the testing. I plan to do the testing on the test map that Marnock's made me, because it's got nice uniform size fields. But I'll run kit that probably would suit a bigger field but a sensible normal size field, because that will give us a measure of time per hectare. So it will make the job, maybe our implement size seems off, maybe unrealistically quick for me. So what's our total working width? No, into the store, but useful I think to know. So we had this problem before with the mowers, didn't we? Oh, I had this problem before. 3 and so 5.5. There you go, Giants. Fix the game. When are they going to fix the game? Right, and then we need an offset, and I can't remember which direction the offset goes. So let's start with a -1 meter offset. That's the wrong way. And it looks like it's going to be maybe +2. Fix the game. Nope, too big. Fix the game, Giants. And if you're not new here, being sarcastic. This is not how you tell Giants the game is broken. That looks like it should work. So if I now bring up the lines, we need to reduce the working width a little bit. Yeah, that'll do us. It's good enough for government work. Probably means we've missed a bit back there, but you know, let's not stress about it, folks. Life is too short. Yeah, so the plan is to try and put together a video looking at that triple crop rotation, because I think it's really interesting personally. Feels like it's one of the first times that base game you've been able to do something like that. Feels a little bit exploitative. Yeah, that's the word. But equally, heck, the game lets us do it. Let's make some monies. So yeah. It'll be fun, you know. And let's be honest, we need to make some monies on here. We have now got enough to buy the field that we need to buy. I'm not buying it yet because we can hold off and there's no point, honestly, unless the farmer does something dumb. Because it's sugar beet, it can't be harvested until October, so there's no point us throwing our money at it until later in the year. And by then, our income should be better because cows making milk. It's all part of the master plan, folks. It's all part of the master plan. Get the farm more profitable. Could you switch over, please? So, yeah, there we go. Thank you. Get the plan. Get the farm more profitable, and then spend the money. We've got the pile of stone. It's pretty much worthless unless we buy the lime production. I'm not sure that's worth doing. Not convinced that's worth doing. You might feel otherwise. If you do a lot of stone picking, it might be worth doing, but no one enjoys stone picking. The person that's now typing the comment, I really enjoy stone picking, it's the best part of the game. You're why I say that. Thank you. And if you really enjoy stone picking, then I can thoroughly recommend the process of being assessed. It's horrendous and not at all a joy, but the outcome at the end is worthwhile. Those weeds are probably too advanced for me to be getting my hoeing going on, aren't they? We've got some cultivating. Yeah, they're spraying jobs. We don't want a spraying job. No spraying, thank you very much, sir. So yeah, I realise hopefully we'll be able to skip at least a row around the bit that I've previously mowed. But we're getting stuff done, and it'll be nice to go to. Wow, that texture up there is not nice, is it? It'll be nice to be able to go to just being able to cut this field the 3 times a year that it should be, rather than. I quite like indirect grazing, but if we want to maximise the production of the cows without having a bunch of other ingredients that we can feed them along with the grass, or without me more heavily modifying the feeding so that grass provides them with more of a benefit, then we need to switch to feeding TMR. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to keep some of the sugar beet back for feeding because I think that'll be worthwhile. Right, let's pick up this row. I think there's going to be grass to cut along here. Not entirely certain, but I don't want to miss any, so we might as well run down to this. We need to do that one. Yes, to be fair, it looks like there's nothing to cut on the one that I was trying to mow, so stupid boy. Right, drop them back down again, and off we go. Fire up the old GPI, and yeah, we need to do that bit. So that's fine. That's fine. We'll get the job done. We'll get the job done. Yeah. So we had an interesting mod come out this week. Actually, in the real times. I think it was yesterday. The field leasing mod, which has prompted some debate on Mr. Crash Tech's Discord, and it's interesting. So it works out that it, depending on how you set it up, it takes you essentially a lifetime to have spent the equivalent of the field value. Now I think I used that mod a fair bit in previous iterations of the game. I don't know if the field cost has changed, and it's an interesting one because I think, personal opinion, and everyone has opinions on some of these things, I don't know what leasing farmland costs in the real world. I know this will shock some of you if you're newer here. I'm not an actual farmer. I know, shock horror, huh? From the way I played the game, I know that's not easy to tell. But from a mathematics point of view, you're not gaining the asset. You're gaining access to the asset. And I've not done the maths, but I would imagine that the cost of leasing the land, in my opinion, should be something less than the expected profitability of the land. This is not good. So our offset is incorrect. Our offset is too big, I guess. Because our working width is less than our total working width. Okay, that's picking up most of the grass. If we have a little time, we'll do one more strip and we'll reassess whether we need to adjust again. I don't want to have many strips of shame. That would be shameful. Yeah, so my view, and I've not done all of the math, so I'm not entirely sure what the profit per hectare is for a lot of crops, because all of my profitability calculations are per meter squared without difficulty multipliers. So I mean, I could convert those into the right numbers if I wanted to, but my view is that the cost of leasing the land should be some percentage less than that, because the person that's leasing you the land is not doing any work, so they're essentially getting passive income for you doing all the work on the land. So you'd expect that maybe the cost of leasing the field is, I don't know, maybe less than 50% of the cost of the amount you can make off of the field in a year. I don't know what that percentage should be. I'm just guessing. because you know, at the end of your time farming the field, you give the land back. You've not got that asset. So yeah, and I don't know how the numbers of leasing the field compare to that amount of income, but I'm not planning to add it on here. I'm thinking about it and might add it to the Kinlag save, just because we can't afford land on there and we're trying to play differently. So we're doing lease to own for our kit. Maybe we lease a couple of fields to help out with the shortage of land. We're at a good point to do that on there, you know, coming into winter and the planting cycle. So it would maybe be a good point to do that. Yeah, maybe. It's definitely a mod that I used a fair bit in the past. I think. I can't remember now. I've tended not to use ones. There was another field mod where you could get land dirt cheap if you were lucky. And I've tended not to use that one because I felt that was a little too cheaty. But you ended up owning the land very cheaply, and then, you know, you could ultimately sell it for the normal price. I think. I don't think it took that into account when you sold it. I'm not sure because I never used the mod, but and there was a mod that I remember watching VF use a fair bit on some of his saves, and it always seemed like he got fields very cheaply. Now, they weren't always the fields that he wanted, but he got land very cheaply. So, and because, as we say, land is king, getting it on the cheap doesn't always feel right. And now maybe I'm contradicting myself, because leasing land for cheap is similarly, you know, gaming the system a little bit. I don't know. Now, sometimes I maybe make things artificially difficult for myself, but yeah, it is what it is, isn't it, folks? It is what it is. You play how you want to play. And I mean, very soon we're gonna have the ridiculous amount of 4 whole fields to be farming, which is absolutely stupid, isn't it? I mean, who needs more than 4 fields to farm? That's any more than that is just crazy. If I think back to the Greenland's £10 million debt farm, and the amount of land we had on there, and the amount of work that was, to be honest, it's quite nice having small farms. From a point of view of making content, I like small farms because it's easier to get things done in a sane amount of time. And I try and make a video in an hour to an hour and a half for a video like this. And if I've got a monstrously big farm, that becomes really difficult because suddenly jobs are taking several hours. I mean, I think I used to make those videos. I did used to do live commentary on those, I think. But sometimes I would split them over a few days to record them because I'd do chunks of it. Not. I think I used to time lapse some bits of that. Because, you know, we had like the massive field where I'd do like the huge silage harvest with 6 or 7 bits of kit and stuff, and those would mostly be time lapse because I remember recording those sat on my laptop, and, you know, doing time lapsey stuff with them because it was a big job. But yeah, that was a big farm, and compared to how some of you play, it was not a big farm because I didn't own all of the map, but relatively for me, it was a big farm. We seem to be getting a lower yield off of here today, but that's fine. We're still going to get a good enough yield. I think we will. I mean, it doesn't really matter what ratio we do of hay to silage in the end, because we can just put less of one or t'other in the mixer as long as we've got enough of each. So I'll hay a little bit of it just because I'm a little bit nervous, but we'll silage most of it, I think. And then what I'll do is I'll ted some of it, and then we'll windrow the whole field in one go. And the bales that end up as hay will be hay bales. The bales that are grass will then wrap for silage. Slightly lazy, maybe, and the engineering approach to this problem, not the farming approach. But yeah, because you can't just head it and then windrow it and it's hay in real life. Apparently. Farmers should work on that technology, you know. With modern technology, you'd think they'd be better at doing some of this stuff by now, wouldn't you? Can't be that hard. I can do it in a video game. Why can't they do it in the real world? Can't be that difficult. Let's have a quick peek. You thought I was going to go ploughing into the hedge, didn't you? But no. I mean, on this version of the map, because Cavalier Roy is a mean map creator, we don't go just ploughing through the hedges now. We get stuck. Allegedly, in previous iterations of the map, there were not hedge collisions on previous versions of the game, and some players would take advantage of that, and that is just awful. Right, where were we? I was just curious. So we've still got the big 6R there, big in relatively speaking terms. We've got a Fendt 300, 142 horsepower. It's probably not enough to worry about. That 6R is so tempting, but we really can't. We really can't. So I don't want to get into doing like a lease to own finance type job on here when we've got so much debt anyway. And we are like 300 grand in debt on here. But I don't want to pay that off while we've got cash in hand, because I'm then concerned that we won't be able to borrow enough to buy the field that we want to buy in the future. And kind of the weird thing is, if we buy the field, we'll then be able to borrow more. So we might be able to buy the field and then borrow enough to buy the tractor. Which is an interesting thing, isn't it? With the way finance and stuff works, we'll have more assets, so we can borrow more, so we can spend more. Don't do that in the real world, folks, unless you can afford things. It's fine in a video game. If it all goes wrong, it doesn't matter. It's just pretend. Honestly, I think some people forget that in a video game. None of this is real, folks. It's not even a simulation. It's farming arcade. I saw a post. I saw a comment on post actually on Facebook the other day. And I generally don't engage with Facebook. I didn't engage with this one because it tends to spiral. So a lot of people seem to be having problems with the post to the Highlands Farm DLC, with either not being able to load that map, predominantly not being able to load that map, and it would get to a high percentage and stop. And I suspect a lot of you here, a lot of you watching are probably going, "Oh, that's a mod conflict," which it most likely is. And then someone posted, "Oh, that's how I lost my, high number of hundreds of hours save on such and such a map." And it's like, so what you're saying is you probably installed some new mods and your save wouldn't load, and you think that means your save was dead. And I'm pretty sure I remember this person posting on Facebook complaining that they'd lost their save And it's like, all you probably needed to do was uninstall some mods, sir. And it's this culture that still bugs me with this game. That people will blindly install mods. It's like, oh, it's new mod state, let's download everything. They will not know what mods they had installed because there was a particular mod that was conflicting with the Highlands Farm DLC, and it was the Future Productions mod, something like that. And I suspect it was because it had a lot of fill types in it, potentially. But anyway, that particular mod seemed to be conflicting with. And there were people that I didn't even know I had that mod installed. It's like, well, you must have freaking downloaded it. And yeah, and it's just like these people, yeah, it's like, I've lost my many hundreds of hours save and suddenly I can't play, and so I've just had to start again. It's like, did you not do like a cause and effect? Maybe you shouldn't have bothered to, maybe you should have bothered to have a quick look. Maybe undo the last thing that you did. Now, I know not everyone has an analytical mind, or is even somewhat computer literate. But it's like, the last time I tried to load the game, load my save game, it worked. Now it doesn't work. What has changed? And it could be you've updated the game in between, and maybe you, but also it's like, what else has changed? What is within my control? Oh, I've got mods installed. Okay, well, maybe some of the mods that I've got installed don't work with the update. Maybe I could remove some of them. Yeah. Particularly if you're deep into a save. If you're deep enough into a save that you care to post on Facebook about it. Now, to be fair, some people will ask a question on Facebook rather than typing it into freaking Google. And I don't get that logic. So I will wait for many hours to get a random answer from a stranger on Facebook rather than searching on the internet and trying to find the answer myself logic. I don't get that. But, you'll take the time to go and rant on Facebook that your save is broken. Why not try and spend that time fixing it? I don't know. I know, going back to that Greenland save, when that broke, I spent a significant amount of time debugging that. Now, I was heavily invested in that save, and I'm a content creator, and it was a series that I was recording, or a save that I was recording a series of videos on. And I got other videos out of that this is the process that I used to fix it. But equally, I wanted to keep playing it, and I wanted to know why it was broke. And it came down to, I had added some mods and suddenly they didn't work. And if you blindly, and there does seem to be this large amount of people that have to install all of the mods, and they don't. As I said, the number of people that commented on this Facebook post, I didn't even know I had that mod installed. Well, you must have downloaded it. And now I'm more likely to be the other way and forget to add mods. Simple Inspector on Kinlag, I'd forgotten to add it. And it's a mod that I use almost all of the time. But maybe that's just because my brain works different. I don't know. Anyway, I probably ranted enough about silly people and mods. And we're almost done with cutting the grass. I can't believe I've been ranting at you for 35 minutes about that. Well, I haven't, because we've spoken about other stuff as well. So that's good. Where are we? It's for you. It's going to be Saturday. It's definitely not Saturday for me, because I am stomping through my new approach to creating content. I'm hoping I can maintain this, because it's good. It's nice. It's really nice not recording a video the night before I want to release it. Takes a lot of pressure off. That said, I've got another week for you guys, and then I'm going on holiday for a week. So probably next week there will be less content, while I try and maintain recording this amount of content so I can space it over 2 weeks. Because I'm not going to be recording while I'm on holiday. Well, I might be playing Lag while I'm on holiday, because I'll have my laptop with me. And depending on what the weather's like while I'm on holiday, because I'm going on holiday in the UK in late November, I might be spending a fair bit of time sat inside if it's crappy weather. If you remember my holiday last year, when we went on holiday in December, we had to come home early because of a severe storm which ended up flooding the village that was next to where we were staying and cutting it off from most of the road network. So yeah, we'll see how this year goes. Why do we always end up going on holiday at this time of year? Well, you know, there is a reason this year, and I'm not going to go into the details of the reason why, but there is a reason. It's a good reason, so. And that's the grass mow. So let's get rid of our mower. We need to do some tedding. We could use the fine Merlot for some tedding, couldn't we? Let's tuck that back there. X is the button we need. We need to get a pressure washer. Do you know? Would you believe FS25 has been out for nearly a year. I have not used a washer in this game in that entire time. I don't believe. I'm turning into FSG, except without the huge audience and the fine looks of Jason Statham. No one tell Argsy. Right, okay, that went well, didn't it? Let's just bosh that out of the way. There we go. That went swimmingly. Right, 1 second, folks. I will be back. Well, some dummy forgot to start the recording, and I've pretty much done most of the tedding that I wanted to do, and I'm about to have to take a break from recording, so yeah. I have tedded the outer headland, essentially, so the bit betwixt the bit that had been mown for indirect grazing and the centre of the field, whatever that bit's called in farming, and that's going to be our hay. I've just been rambling on about how much feed the cows are eating and whether we've got enough, whether we're going to have enough, and to not be surprised once they start producing milk, how much milk we get. But they're eating a lot of food. You know, they're eating like 2,000 litres of food each a day. So, yeah. You missed all of that. You weren't paying attention. Or I forgot to hit record. Which is dumb because I've got OBS on the screen next to me. Anyway, I need to go for a bit now. So, I will be back in several hours for me, but for you it will be no time at all. So I will see you in mere seconds or many hours, depending on whose perspective it is. Well, it is definitely later, as in like 36-ish hours later, but we're back. I'm going to manually windrow stuff because I want to probably combine the headland into a single windrow because it'll make bailing quicker. It's too wide to get in a single pass with the windrower, but we can certainly combine it into a single windrow for the baler. And then that'll make it an easy job for the up down race. I'm somewhat tempted to get a hay baled before we do the silage. And I might then just check how long things are and turn this into a video. Just something that I've been going for quite a while. In terms of how much I rambled away in the first part of this. So we'll see. We've had some cool mods come out in the interim. Some cool bits of kit. Some really nice weights. I know. Slightly weird maybe, but yeah, some nice Breslau and Lund weights which I've added in. Some weight boxes, which is kind of cool. I don't know how often I would use a weight box, but I've added. Why can I not reverse this damn thing? Don't comment on that. Thank you. Pete, if you're watching. My reversing skills have not got better, I know. And I'm really missing a bunch of that stuff that's tucked into the hedge. Yeah, and some, like, I guess they're not quite, well, they are weights, but they're more like push bars to go on the front, which are kind of cool. I have a favourite front weight. I had a favourite front weight. And surely you all have favourite front weights. And I think I had it in FS22. It came with the Syntrack, which was that futuristic looking track tool. Now, I never really used the Syntrack, but I really liked the weight that came with it because I think it looked really cool. It looked awesome on a Deutz tractor, which is, the best tractor pretty much, bar some old JCBs or something like that. But it always looked really cool on those tractors. I started using it a lot in FS19 on stuff, maybe even before I was making, no, not before I was making videos, maybe stuff that I didn't do on camera anyway. But yeah, I always thought it looked really cool. And you could configure it from being quite light to being quite heavy. And it finished off a Deutz really nicely with the way it looked. So, yeah. But, yeah, maybe that's weird having a favourite weight. I don't know. It was quite a short wait, and I don't like long. Actually, I don't mind a long wait. I can be quite patient waiting, but... yeah, so the Breslau and Lund ones, assuming I activated them after I downloaded them, I'm not confident actually that we've got enough time to sit and look at those while we do this job. But you can go on ModHub and have a look. You can do that. If I'm going to combine them, I don't need to go diving off like that. Oh. Yeah, can we get them in? Yeah, we can get that, and we're getting basically everything. Perfect. Is good. And yeah, that'll mean that we can bail in a single pass. Pretty much everything. And we don't need that much more hay, really. We've got quite a lot stored up anyway, so that's good. And then the rest of it we will silage. I don't think the baler has silage additive. Not a massive problem. The silage bales are a holdover until we get more. Well, not really more, but a little bit. They're a little bit of a temporary thing until the maize silage kicks in, I guess. A safety net, if you would. And maybe even something we can sell eventually. It's always a weird one knowing at what point. Actually, that was a mod I meant to add in. When I was downloading new mods, I thought it was on the other save. The animal food calculator has been released, which would be worth having on here, knowing how much the cows are going to eat every day. I've got an estimate of it, but it'd be useful. So I'll probably add that in, because it'll be handy to know. Did I add in? Am I feeling right? That was the wrong menu anyway. I think I've got them on the other save again. The other BGAs I was talking about, which I haven't looked at the XML for yet. Not felt like looking at XML because I still need to go through and update crop prices mod. I've got a feeling that might be a holiday job. If we get a rainy day on holiday, although I've got a few things I want to do if there's a rainy day on holiday, because I've been recommended another game to play as well. But yeah, come on, you're supposed to be picking up all of this. Oh god, that's awful. Let's go back and let's try again. Do a better job. Reversing this thing isn't. I guess it's the four-wheel steer means it steers much more. It steers the back end more, which is moving the implement more. Which is a bit like when you're trying to reverse a trailer, and it's better to attach it to the front of a vehicle, like a dolly trailer, because it gives you more control. But when you're trying to reverse an implement, you need to have your brain on a bit more. And my brain is not very on this morning, so it is definitely not very on. Which is why I'm looking forward to a holiday. And yeah, we all know, unless you're new here, that a holiday doesn't mean I'll sleep in. But what it does mean is when I get up, I won't have anything to do, which will be nice. Other than like stuff that's relaxing and enjoyable. So yeah, I'm getting most of it in a single pass, and anything that we miss we'll pick up in the next round of cutting the grass and making hay, because nothing rots, because we have fake seasons. I miss real seasons so much. But I think we just have to admit that it's long gone. So yeah, well, what I could do, is that going to work? Let's try it. We could be smart here. Work harder, not smarter, folks. That's from a YouTube channel that I like, a running YouTube channel that I like. Train harder, not smarter. So I need to get the number of headlands right. 2 going to be enough? Of course you're not showing the lines, so we'll use courseplay instead. And we want to show the whole thing, and that should just about work, Good enough for government work. That's funny that they opened and closed the door as part of the process. So if we jump out, and yeah, having looked at how much I have recorded so far, I think what we'll do is get the hay baled, and then what intermediate left hand, but it's a telehandler one. We're just going to drag this out of the way because I'm quite strong. Been to the gym lately, so you know, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, sure, it's not that heavy. It's only a quarter of a ton, like 250 kilos, assuming we're in metric tons. Yeah, I could have done that easy. That's not way above my max deadlift at all. Have I ever no, I've never deadlifted that much. Anyway, it's fine. I got a couple of the lads to help me move that, honest. So we actually, I'm going to make big hay bales at this point. Having previously been making smaller ones, go for some big ones because you know we like big uns here. Get your mind out of the gutter. And they're going to be 8,000 litres. Yeah, that's probably, yeah, the extra bit is going to not be a bad thing. And let's try and time this. And actually, if we... out of the way. And let's go for about, not there, but about there. And something like that. I know it's really not great probably doing this with you guys watching, but hey, literally, hey. You get to see the process, folks. And that's only funny if you watch Timberborn, because there's process if you watch the right Timberborn channel. And if you don't, there's a Timberborn creator who has a catchphrase, I guess it's a thing that he says where everything is a process. So, and making thumbnails is part of the process of making videos. And no, there's no suspension of disbelief here. This is not roleplay stuff. So, yes, I have to make thumbnails as part of making the video. So, we're all grown-ups here, hopefully. So yes, I have to take a picture at some point of me playing the game, unless I use AI, which I have a lot in the past. So the tricky bit with making AI thumbnails is thinking of something to prompt the AI with, and then dealing with the junk that it sometimes throws at you. Sometimes you can get a good AI image, sometimes you can't, and it's just one of those things, isn't it? And you know, I never know which is the right approach to take. I know most of the regular viewers don't really care what I use, because you're here for my, as I always say, sparkling wit, entertainment, and deep insight. And if you're new here, that's part of my sparkling wit, humour, and whatever else. So, yeah, I don't know. We're not here to play games with algorithms and such. I'm just here to have fun and make videos while I ramble to the internet. Yeah, the other cool thing, manual attach is back. Now that in itself doesn't excite me. I'm not a user of manual attach. It's a video game. And so the reason I'm not a fan of manual attach is, for me, it's never been the smoothest mod in the world to use. It feels like you have to click 18 million times and be in exactly the right place and all that kind of faff, and it actually takes away from the immersion of playing the game. But I know a lot of people like manual attach and feel that you have to have it to be playing realistically. Yeah. Question mark. Anyway, the cool thing that means is it means Wobster is still making mods, because I think that's maybe the first one he's made for 22, 25 even. Oops, question mark. And that's a cool thing. So what we could do now, because we're sneaky farmers, is we could hit that button. We can hit that button. And we can hit that button. And that can go off and do its thing. Now there's a question for you. I don't think... Maybe we do. Maybe we have... Oh, of course it's hailing again in July. Well done, Giants. Fixed the game. And maybe this one is the... it's the front loader one. No. What we can do is use the little doits to clear up the hay bales. Now, we can't stack them very high, but we can stack them. And yes, this weight is probably heavier than the tractor. But, you know, physics is fun. 2.5 ton weight on a... if I disconnect that, 2.5 ton weight on a 3 ton tractor. Fine, it's fine. But that will let us get the silage baled, or the grass baled, to become silage. We can get the hay bales cleared. And that's a good thing. 3 tractors working in the field. All of our tractor type vehicles working at once. How cool is that? And that should give us a bit more control of the tractor now, which is also good. I've had a bit of an incident with the hay bales up here, but it's okay. Okay, and we might be able to carry 3 hay bales like this. Yes, I know, realism is key, folks. Our vineyard tractor probably couldn't do this, but it's going to. Now that would be an interesting mod, wouldn't it? Any of those folks that do the black magic that is scripting, because I assume like the hydraulic system on a smaller tractor would limit the amount that a smaller tractor like this can lift. Not just the mass of the tractor. We're all over the place from a suspension point of view. Give me a forward gear. But I would have assumed that the hydraulic pump in the tractor just can't generate enough pressure to power the rams to lift huge amounts of weight. So, is that a thing? And if you think that we've got here, each bale is 500 kilos. So that's 1.5 tons of hay. So that's like half the weight of the tractor. I would think that maybe the hydraulic system in the tractor, and hydraulics are weird, aren't they? In that, you know, it's pressured oil, so maybe they can. I don't know, but yeah, let's ignore the physics that's going on here. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it? If, you know, this little tiny tractor shouldn't be doing this. I'm pretty sure. Now, maybe that should be down to me not doing it. Now, this is the thing that I've said many times before. That you don't always have to have a mod to stop you doing things. Sometimes you should just go, I shouldn't be doing this. And you don't do it. There's that element of it. And if you're a realistic player, you would probably choose not to do this. Now, thankfully, that's not me. The tyres compressing. Not really. The back tyres maybe are, or they've just sunk into the ground. But yeah, it's an interesting question, isn't it? Should you have to have a mod to do that? I mean, there's the mod that came out yesterday, today, maybe this morning, or maybe it was yesterday, that removes the option to have loans. And again, I guess if you're on multiplayer and you don't trust each other, maybe you need that. But my view is, if you want to play without a loan, you just decide, I'm not going to take a loan. Now, maybe if you've got some kind of community multiplayer server and you're not all trustworthy humans, you have to do that. And maybe that's why that kind of thing exists. And I think I've said before, but I've seen it a few times on, you know, questions like, how do I remove this functionality from the game? It's like, we tell everyone playing that they're not allowed to use it. Or if it's for a single player game, you decide you're not going to use it. And that's how you stop it being used. You use self-control. But maybe with some community-based stuff that doesn't work. I don't know. I've not been that, you know, I've not run that many big successful community-based multiplayers, so. But if you're going to join something like that and you can't follow the spirit of the intent of playing a community-based game, what's the point in bothering to join it? But maybe that's my neurodivergence coming through. You know? And this little thing run the bale wrapper. And there's the question, should it run the bale wrapper? The only answer is no, it can't by the looks of it, because it's pulling down the front wheels too much. Okay, so we're going to have to wait to wrap the bales. So we'll park this guy up over here. The Malo is nearly done. So that'll be able to run the bale wrapper, which is cool. I think I'm going to end this here. I'll get this job finished up and get the bales stored, and I'll come back in August, I think, when we've got calves and milk. I might tackle a few contracts in the background, just to make some more cash. We've got the Highlands DLC New Holland there, I think. We got any more? Got the Unimog. That's maybe, not sure if that's from the Highlanders DLC or not. But yeah, I'll maybe get a few more contracts done, keep the cash flowing in. But I think we're going to wrap this video up here. And I'll get this job finished between videos. And you'll see how many bales we get afterwards. Because you'll see the little white fluffy clouds. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you've enjoyed this. Comments, etc. below. Thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. And I'll see you all next time.